Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the box tank. It's the SU-100Y. It's a Tier 6 Soviet premium tank destroyer. It's located on the eastport of Safe Haven, and this one is under the command of shootr79. Now it's actually got a rather meaty gun because it's a 13cm naval howitzer, and it's capable of doing 440 alpha, and at tier 6 that's a considerable amount of damage. In fact, it is capable of devastating the enemy tanks, but it does have a rather long reload. Standard reload is 15.34 seconds, and well, shooters managed to get it down to 13.81, which is not bad, probably using vents and a good crew. Now it's based on the T100 heavy tank. They only made one of them during the Winter War with Finland, but they never built any more. And the sole survivor is now in the Russian Tank Museum at Kubinka. He's setting up a little nest here, getting himself ready for any enemy tanks that come into sight. And well, if they do come into sight, they're likely to get a bit of a shock, because when you suddenly lose a huge number of hit points, it can be a bit disturbing. Just going to wait for some prey to come into sight, and oh, we've got an easy 8 coming round the factories, but he gets wiped out before he comes into our view. Now the thing about the armour on this tank is it's very thin. It's only 60mm all the way round, so yeah, most guns will penetrate it at tier 6, so you don't want to get seen if you can help it, and better to shoot at long range. It's also fairly slow because it's based on the heavy tank, so it's only 35 kilometers an hour top speed, and well, that makes it a bit sluggish. So if he was to take it up onto the hill, he'd still be trying to get up there right this moment, even though the battle's been going for nearly 2 minutes. It's woefully underpowered. But then the T100 tank was quite an early tank, and this vehicle, well, it really is designed for sitting at the back and shooting at enemy tanks as soon as they come to view. Now they originally proposed that they were going to build it with a 15cm or 152mm gun, the M10 gun, to destroy the Dragon's Teeth on the Mannerheim line. So this tank destroyer would be most at home on the Arctic region map, because basically that is the map that it was actually designed to work on. Although the casing around the troops, or the box itself, was actually to keep out the bullets and the shell splinters, I'm sure it was also to try and keep the warm in, and he's just wiped out a KV-2 with one round by ammo-racking him. 960 hit points with his first shot. Now admittedly that's a lucky shot, but then this is a 13cm gun, and normally you only see 13cm guns on tier 9 heavies, not on a tier 6 tank destroyer. Okay, target, and he's out the game. Oh, what a pity. Didn't get a chance to play. Oh dear. Okay, well the next victim's a P43 Biz, who should have charged forward, but he didn't. And now he's lost 498 hit points, and now he's a one shot. He's picked a really good spot to fire from, and the P43's down. Now there is a slight problem, of course, because it's so slow, it's very vulnerable to Arty. So the thing you've got to watch out for is, at the moment you get spotted, you become a high priority target for any Arty player on the enemy team. And well, there was a pair of Artys. There's only one Arty on the enemy team now. It's an FE304, but he could easily penetrate the armor if he can actually, well, not penetrate the armor because he hasn't got that much pen, but he could certainly do a lot of damage because he could get repeated shots on the shooter's hull. Okay, shooters decided to move up. The score's fairly even. Is he going to defend the cap area from this corner? Okay, this sounds like a good idea, because there's lots of enemies in the field, but very few defenders. You've only got that Type 64 up there. So I guess he's going to cover from these bushes and then fall back if he needs to. Okay, that sounds good. He's relying on that Type 64 to stay alive and keep spotting the enemy as they come towards us. Now, it not only has a high alpha, it also has premium shells which actually have more damage but less pen than the standard shells. The enemy Type 64 is coming to sight. He could die with just one shot if we get him. Come to daddy. Oh, we've lost our spotter. Our Type 64 just got wiped out by their Type 64. So now we're going to have to spot them manually, or hope that our teammates do. In fact, actually, we're right at the front. All our teammates are behind us. This is not a good situation to be in. Our view range is 350 meters, so we should be able to see them. But we do have a lot of bushes between us and the enemy at the moment. And there's the closest enemy. It's their Bert, the FV304. Now let's hope that now he's been spotted, our teammates will do something. But the Dickamac's got to go, and he's gone. Lovely direct hit, but now were we seen by the enemy? No, we weren't. Oh, no, we were. The Type is so close now, and he's firing rounds into us with his 76mm gun. Now, get that Bert. He'll just come around the corner. We don't want him to fire on us. The Type's... Oh, there he's lobbing shells in our direction, and now the Type's firing again. His 76mm will easily go through 60mm of armour. Okay, we have to get sighting of him to take him out. It's just the Bert in the cap at the moment, and the enemy's just lost their T-3485. He might have to drive forward and find the Bert and put him out of his misery. Oh, he's found him. And the Bert's had to decap, mainly because if he didn't, he would get Arty. And look at that, 560 hit points, and the Wizzy-131 gets taken out by the Hummel. The lovely shot. Now he needs to take care of this Bert. He's not loaded yet. Oh, the Type 64's coming in. He senses blood in the water. And now even the Bert's trying to troll us. But we can wipe him out with one round. And... yep, there you go. Okay, so he's now got 4 kills. And he needs to deal with this Type, because he doesn't want to take too much more. He can only take 1 or 2 shots from the Type before he's out the game, and he's reloaded. The Type's gone to hiding, and that's forcing him to think about the Arty, because of course the Arty can see him. They know where he is, and we've still got an Arty in the game, and he happens to be, what is he? He's a Hummel. Come on, Hummel, do the job. Take him out. Either that, or we'll have to do it. Oh, he's pulled back. Well, the Hummel did stun him, but he didn't get a kill or damage. But the Type is still a one-shot, and he's had to pull back. I think he's pulling back so he can shoot at a long range. Okay, our Type 64, who should have been up front looking for us with the 76mm gun, he didn't do it. He's been sitting at the back. Come on, guys. Type's gone up. In fact, he's a very good player, that Type 64. He should have been up front. He does have 2 kills, but he is an expert player. He's gone around the outside, try and catch that Type 64, but he didn't find him. Which kind of makes me think the Type 64's gone a long way away. He's actually gone up into the high ground, knowing that he's a one-shot. Shooter's got 3,000 hit points of damage. He's on for a high caliber. He's got 20% of the enemy hit pool. Okay, the Type is now gone up into the hill area to see if he can find him. It's only that Type 64 left on the enemy team. At this point in the game, I'm normally say to the Arty, go move and go cap. But if he does, I think the Type will run over to his own cap, quickly kill the Hummel, and then come back and try and deal with the Shooter. But the Type's up in the hill, and he hasn't found anyone. He's not, well, he is moving about now, but Shooter is being very cautious, because he knows it only takes 2 shots from that Type 64 and he'd be out the game just like that. He doesn't want to lose this game by being too cautious, or not being too cautious, but by running in and going too fast into the enemy and then finding out to his cost that the enemy had him in sight. I think the words I was looking for was blundering in and finding out to his cost that he was spotted. Well, they've all come back to this cap, but I think the better move would be for all of them to go to the other end. Is Shooter going to sit on the hill and wait for the Type to come back? I think if he urges the Type on our team and the Hummel to go to the enemy cap, then the enemy won't turn up there. Or if he does turn up, then he will do a about face and come back here. Well, the Hummel's coming to give us company and moral support, whilst the Type is still hunting around trying to look for the target. It would have been better if he'd done that earlier in the game, instead of sitting at the back waiting for Shooter to kill all the enemy. He's gone up onto the roof of the structure. He's just blind firing where he thinks the Type might be, in one of those bushes up near the house. And I think he's going to take a risk and go to the enemy cap. The Hummel ought to do the same. I would have gone direct rather than going around the houses. Remember, this thing's not very fast. The Hummel's just sitting back at our cap area. He should be coming with us to get into the cap quickly, because we've only got a few seconds left. 20 seconds left to start capping, and we're going to need the Type 64, and he's been spotted. So the Type is somewhere near the enemy cap. So that's what he did. He actually returned to his own cap to ambush anyone who came into cap. Yep, he thinks he's over by the buildings near the sea. I think that's a reasonably good guess. It's about the only place he would get spotted. Yes, as he poked out there, he did get spotted. So the Type on our team needs to get around there quick. The Type saying to Arty, please blind fire that spot. What is our Type 64 doing? He's being an idiot. We can't win if he can't get the kill. And Shooter is taking a hell of a risk if he tries to drive in, because he's sitting over there in those bushes somewhere. He could take a blind shot. We're going to run out of time. The Type's now coming in, but I think he's left it too late. Hummel is blind firing the area. This is going to go down to the wire. And it's going to be the blame of that Type 64 if it does, because Shooter's done everything except... Oh, there he is! Finally in sight, and he finally gets the kill. Next time, pull your finger out sooner. Well, at least he commits suicide at the end. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for shootr79 in the box tank, the SU-100Y. He managed to get a demolition expert by blowing up the KV-2 and collecting all of his hit points with just one shot. He also managed to get a fighter badge for taking out at least 4 tanks, and yes, he got 4 exactly. He would have had 5 if he'd managed to get that Type 64, as well as a fighter effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle, and he got the high caliber in the end for dealing the most damage in that game with a win rate of 11,195, which is super unicum and quite a bit more. Let's have a look at team score. While he did get the highest damage with 3,021 hit points, the second highest damage wasn't that far behind. It was that Type 64 again, 2,938 hit points, and the third highest damage was the Type T3485M with 2,561. The problem Type 64, the one on our team who was sitting at the back doing nothing, twiddling his thumbs and jerking off, you might say if you're an American. Yep, he only got 1,491 hit points out of that game, but he did get 3 kills. And when it came to kills, actually the highest number of kills was the Type 64 on the enemy team, who got 5. And we can see that shootr79 managed to get 4, and the enemy T3485M also got 3. When it came to base XP, shootr79 got that one with 1,358. That's a very good ace tanker. 917 went to the Type 64 on his own team. 769 went to the T3485M on his own team. Or actually, no, it should be said the Type 64 managed to get more than him. The one on the enemy team got 850. I missed that out. So he was actually in 3rd place on XP, even though he's on the losing team. shootr79 fired 8 rounds in the game, but he only had 6 direct hits and 6 penetrations. And the reason for that was he fired 2 blind shots, one up into the hills to the bush where I thought the most likely that the Type 64 might be, and the second blind shot was at the bushes near the harbour where, well, he didn't know where the guy was, so he had no idea. He just fired the round in hoping that he would actually get him. He was close to him, but the shell didn't hit the Type. But every other tank that he fired at and he got a direct hit, he did pen them. 3,021 hit points of damage, of which 1,358 were at more than 300 meters. 8 hits received from the enemy, 6 of them penned, 2 non-pens. 115 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 6 enemy vehicles damaged, 4 killed, and 85 hit points of damage assistance. He also managed to get 6 defense points by resetting the cap whilst the enemy was in it. 82,664 credits profit from the game, and after resupply of ammunition and repair, he took away 47,496 credits profit, 2,037 XP, 611 for this being a premium vehicle, took away 2,648 experience points altogether. So yes, this game could have been so much better for shootr79 if he'd managed to get that Type 64, but I'm afraid it all comes down to it in the end that our own Type 64 was being a bit of a jerk. I mean that most literally. He wasn't playing the game correctly. He should have actually tried to drive straight towards the enemy cap. It would have tempted the Type 64 to shoot at him, and that would have given shootr79 the opportunity to nail that guy, because after all, he did all the hard work during the game. And the Type 64, his job is just to spot the enemy. But what did he do? Well, he tried to play a smart guy and run around the map to avoid the enemy Type 64 seeing him approach. And he nearly left it too late, which meant they could have actually have lost or got a draw out of this game, which is what the Type 64 was probably hoping. Either that or he was hoping that he would snipe our tanks as they got close to the cap. But very good game by shootr79. Congratulations. And let's hope you don't run into that Type 64 on your own team in the future, because he seems to be a bit of a waste of space for a unicum. Anyway, if you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.